Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is the third installation of YamatoCannon's weekly AMA. This will be the last one of 2019. The year is coming to a close. We're going to also nominate our Player of the Year, my Player of the Year award of 2019. I'm going to put it at the end of the video or something, so you just have to hang on tight. If you want to join the discussion, please post your questions on the YamatoCannon subreddit. We have open discussion. You can post your questions. If I missed your question in the video, please feel free to post it again. I'm trying to get through as many as possible, but I also don't want to make the video last forever. So let's just jump right into it. First question. I know you can't share probably, but when will we know what org you are signing with? Says JBK Cards. I'm going to tell you everything in the next video. Next video, probably I'll post it tomorrow. The day after this one is posted, and I will tell you everything. Thank you for the question, JBK Card. Deadly Mage CZ asks, it is not related to League, but it has been bugging me for some time. I really want to know, seeing that guitar in the background, a Fender Strat should mean that you play. If so, how often, what kind of music do you play, and what made you pick up guitar? I wanted to follow the music theme, so I put up a Yamaha. Like for a large portion of my life, I listen to just rock music. I like to play a lot of Metallica, System of a Down, some drop C tunings, some drop T tunings, some Red Hot Chili Peppers as well, back to standard. You know, I'm kind of all over the place. I wouldn't say that I'm good at all. I know a couple of songs, nothing too fancy. What I'm the most proud of for learning is the song Classical Gas. Go check it out. I like it a lot, and maybe I'll play it for you someday. In Doctor. Hey, Doctor. If you had to coach an NA team, which would it be? Honestly, if I could choose any NA team, it would be Team Solomid, without a question. Team Liquid is not as exciting because they've been winning for such a long time and they will probably continue to do so. TSM, I feel like they have what is necessary to win. Thanks to Björksen is an amazing player, and I believe that I've had a good history of unleashing solo laners and really making the game about them in the right and healthy way. And I think it would be a good and deadly combination, especially with the roster they have now. I miss Kobe, you know. NoNam326 asks, in your opinion, which is the most powerful lane in League right now? So my answer will always be mid lane. The reason mid lane being the most powerful is because it is the most central. If you control mid lane, you can choose to control bottom or top side, depending on the game, of course. And also, this is the lane where the wave crashes first. That's why mid prio is so important. So if you have the prio there, you can definitely impact the prio of other lanes. Sometimes there are roles that are stronger, sometimes roles that have OP champions within them, right? But usually these champions, what they need to be used for is to impact mid lane. For example, there's the longest period of time where Camille was OP. She used that pressure to hover into mid lane. Jungle, whenever jungle is the most OP, sure, you can clear a lot of jungle camps, but then all roads lead to Rome. And Rome for me is mid lane. And then if we're talking in terms of most powerful in solo queue, it's always the big roamers, the big farmers. You know, you can play like Warwick, get a couple of items, 1v9, Master Yi, get a couple of items, 1v9. Rengar, get a couple of items, 1v9. And then there's the roamers, early on Soul. So a lot of people having success with Tryndamere as well. But mid lane. Mid lane is the way. Play Aurelion Soul in the mid lane. Go for it. So I'm having there's a lot of similar questions in regards to EG, the EG roster. With Jizuki, of course, Untouched Baguette. As is Jizuki going to succeed in North America? Peraskar asks, what do you think about the roster from EG? Zohan4K also asks, what do you think about Jizuki leaving Vitality and joining EG? It really looks like one of the random NA roster moves you were talking about in your LCS discussion video. So the question of EG, right? Let's start with Jizuki. I think Jizuki is going to have the best year of his career. If I would have stayed in Vitality, I would have kept Jizuki. Vitality decided to do something else. Okay. The reason I believe so is because Jizuki went through a very strong outbreak year. First year, he had wonderful moments that everyone remembers. He had, the best first year you could have hoped for in a lot of cases. He showed his highs and he showed his dedication to the game. Right after the World Championship, he went on to completely just massacre Korean solo queue. This is the extent of how dedicated he is. And the reasoning he gave me was that when we were screaming rookie, I felt like he was much better than me. So he went on the journey to get better, you know? We had a lot of issues in Vitality, and I could make a long list for it. But, the issues on Jizuke's side was he had some health-related issues in Spring Split that really, really tore us down. He was sleeping very little. This is something that has been figured out now. This is such a big plus coming into the next year. And a lot of the mistakes that have happened surrounding things that are outside of the game are things that are not going to reoccur, because I know that Jizuke is not going to fall into those same holes again. And that's why I think with the combination of that dedication and that individual skill, that prowess, that drive to really, really do everything as precisely as possible, this is what makes a player great. So I think Jizuke as a single piece is a very, very good pickup for EG. I have to disclose that there is some bias. I love the guy. He's a very close friend of mine, but I'm trying to surpass that bias as much as possible. While Vitality had a lot of issues and we couldn't really put it together by the end, there was a lot of individual growth on his side. The EG roster as a whole, Svenskeren and Jizuke together, if they play 2v2 mid and they use it and they play with it together and they just dominate the whole map, make sure that Bang gets to a point where he has even items as enemy AD carry, and I think they can win against a lot of teams. I think against some of the more well-rounded teams, they're going to struggle because I don't know how good Kumo is going to be. I think Zeyzal and Bang are going to struggle lane phase-wise. If Zeyzal, Svenskeren, and Jizuke work together in the early game to control the whole map, then this team could look very, very strong, because I think if it reaches into mid-game, to late game, they have these players that know how to team fight, know how to position themselves, know how to engage, know how to force fights. I think this could be a good recipe for them. But my imagination struggles when they're going to be forced to play through bottom, through top. I think this is where some difficulties might occur. Doomberry LOL asks or says, "Hey Yamato, thanks for hosting these AMAs. My absolute pleasure, honestly. How do you expect the game to change next year? When you think about last year's meta and the current preseason, what do you feel will happen? What questions would you like to see answered?" When I think back at the last year's meta, honestly, there was very little issues with it. The only disappointing part is there's starting to become too many champions that are too difficult to balance. Like, for example, Akali or Azir or Yumi. I'm not too big of a fan of this edgy design process. While I think a lot of these champions are unique, they don't tend to fit the environment of competition most of the time. So I think this is probably the biggest issue. And in terms of what, the current preseason, the whole idea was dragons. Everyone's hyped up on dragons. I'm not so hyped up on dragons. Honestly, each individual Drake is weaker than it used to be. And I think something that people have failed to realize is that I think these Rift Heralds are pretty OP. The double Rift Herald thing and just getting Rift Heralds, if you trade that for dragons, I think it's super worth it. I think you can give up the early dragons, you can focus on the Rift Heralds, get platings, look to snowball, and I think this is going to be, the better way to play the game. It kind of reminds me of the old system of having 5 dragons. Some of the bushes that you get when the ocean, when it rains, is kind of strange. I don't like it too much. The Infernal Drake space is something you kind of have to get used to. It is interesting, and I think we'll realize more and more how impactful they can be. But just because it's RNG and we don't know ahead of time which dragons are going to spawn, we can't really make any proper plans around which champions are going to abuse it or not. So I think that RNG element of it is going to be very, very obnoxious. I think if anything, they should look to already reveal in Champion Select what Dragon Soul is going to be the one dominating the game, because we're going to walk away from competitive games knowing we could have won if it wasn't for this dumbass RNG. That alone will be super, super frustrating. So I hope it changes. SSW Fanboy asks, "Do you happen to be paying attention to the LCK Offseason? And if so, what do you think about Dragon X?" Chovy is amazing. He proved at the World Championship that he is absolutely monstrous. I don't know too much about the rookies, and I've been paying attention to Kesper Cup. But I think if Deft has vouched for these players and Deft is a part of the team, they're always going to be a strong as contender. Really hyped about this roster. I think, anything with Deft is going to hype me up because I think Deft still could be the best AD carry in the world. I thought he was always better than Imp as well back when Samsung won the World Championship. I think Deft is just crazy. With that being said, I'm hyped for Dragon X, always. I'm hyped for Deft, always. The fuck? Okay. Theeks asks, what was your personal favorite meta? Personal favorite meta? Honestly, there was a meta back in Season 2 when lane swaps just started to happen. I really liked it because the mindset of being the person that was alone against two was that you were trying to actually actively kill them. Yeah, I played Olaf and I all in level 2, 1v2. So that was a very fun time for me personally as a player. I really liked last year's Worlds meta because it was so wide open. You could kind of play anything that you wanted. I was also a big fan of the Azir Rise Zoe meta because I got to watch Jizuke play it. Also any Jace meta because it becomes so clinical. It's as if you're performing surgery on a patient that, if you make a very small mistake, the patient just dies. That's what playing Jace is. And that's why we have the conversation of NA Jace or EU Jace or whatever. But the metas that are like that, I like them. Let's continue. Last but not least, I wanted to present a new award. I was making some memes, some jokes about Player of the Year award, and, it was silly for me to see some of these guys claiming that they had the authority to give the Player of the Year award, I'm not claiming that I have authority. The only thing that I'm claiming is that I made a goddamn trophy. And it's turned with his ass towards the camera right now because I didn't want to reveal the name just yet because I want a little drum roll. And the winner of the 2019 Play of the Year award is Perks. Why? You already know why. He position swapped. He did it successfully. Competed at the highest level possible in mid lane. You guys saw what he did to RNG. Dumbass RNG. He was amazing at the World Championship. Absolutely astonishing. And then he continued onwards to do the same thing in the AD carry position. Played against the best of the best. Won lanes. Had wonderful movement on the map, which is something that you saw that you get from mid laners. The way he farmed side lane, the way he contested mid lane, he understood in terms of game knowledge. He had more than any other AD carry, and this was his massive strength. The usage of his TPs in the bot lane was absolutely immense. The usage of APs. Serious, man? The usage of his TPs and the usage of AP champions in the bot lane was unmatched. He made every AD carry that you know as super established. He made them rethink their whole position. So for me, it's a no-brainer. MSI winner, double split winner, and second place at the World Championship. Even that resume speaks for itself. Even though, people are going to say, well, he was surrounded by great players. I think he was the leader of this team, and I think he really brought it together. Thank you so much for watching. If you have more questions or whatever, check out the subreddit. Join us on the next one. We're going to answer the question of what is the meaning of life? Peace.